I attended high school in Hawaii back in 1970s. And during that time, I thought it was common all the schools in Hawaii at the time had what is called the bull of the school. And the bull of the school is basically the alpha male of the entire school. And the way you become the bull of the school is to physically fight your way up to the top. He was a good athlete, and he was also mean. And I remember playing football when I was playing. I was in my junior year. I was about 140, about 5'7". He was about 6'4", about 280-ish pounds. So he was big, I was little. During that time, after all the football games, we'd go to parties. And during that time, alcohol was very common, and everyone was drinking alcohol. This game was no different. I remember after one of the games, I went to this party. And I remember I was one of the first that got my food. And I sat on a table. At that time, I was all by myself. I remember I just got started eating. And standing in front of me was the bull of the school. And I remember him looking down at me, shoving a can of beer to me, and telling me, drink. And I remember looking up at him and afraid, just saying no. And second time, he pushed the beer even closer to me. This time the crowd just silenced. And he pounded the table, and at the time he said, drink now. I was ashamed, I was afraid. Tears rolling down my eyes, I said, no. And then the third time he pushed the beer even closer to me, he pounded the table even harder and really loudly and forcefully. He said, drink now. Again, I was still afraid. I was just crying, but I still said no. After a few minutes, I remember someone putting his arm around the bull of the school, and he kind of took him on the side and said, hey, leave him alone. He's not really bothering you. Felt so, I don't know, just in despair, just not knowing what to do. So I felt really ashamed, embarrassed, and scared. And I remember standing up and trying to find my way out of the crowd, and I went home. I remember the feeling, how fearful I was, how sad I was, how just felt so lonely. Felt so lonely, but I knew what I did was right. And I had a hard time sleeping because I knew that I was going to be made fun of in school. And I remember going to school the next day on a Monday. And I remember when I had my head down, books in my hand, I was looking, and all of a sudden I could see his body in front of me, his big body, and I looked up. I was afraid again, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And he said, I'm sorry for what I did to you. He said, I was drunk, I wasn't sure what I was doing, and I asked you to do something that I know is important for you. And he said, I'm glad that you did not drink. And he gave me a big hug, and he said, thank you for showing me a good example. And he left. But after that, I felt big. Ever since then, he always in a way looked up to me because of what I did that time.